What's up, everybody? We're back again, James and George, Warp Charge Gaming, but today it is episode 1 of a Tabletop Alchemy talk show episode. Hey now.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about 3D printing on our typical live show on Thursday nights at 9. Those will continue, and we just want to be able to continue to focus those around their original intent, and that's mainly the topic of 40K, Games Workshop, tabletop wargaming. And our 3D printing adventure that we've jumped into. James here led the charge with getting our first printer. We were using the Creality CR10S's. That was the one that at the time, and still probably going, is one of the most popular for the price, even though it seems like new printers, and even the CR10 has a newer upgrade that seemed to have dropped recently, right, James?
Yeah, they have the CR10S Pro.
Right. It's a quickly developing market. I talked to people recently. I just got my printers following suit with James. We partnered with our local game store and already are partnered with Warp Charge Gaming Battlegrounds, and they've joined together forces with us, and we've created Tabletop Alchemy, getting more printers with the intentions of more and more if things go well enough. There just seems to be so much value in producing your own plastic crack, if you will.
Yes, definitely considered plastic crack.
It really is. A little factory here of addiction. It's like we're not making things that you would use like in a typical standard day-to-day. We're using things that you have fun with, so you get extra excited, right?
Oh, definitely. It's like just printing things that you can then start using in like the games that you play right away is so cool.
It really is. It really is. So it's taken over our hearts and minds, and there's been most of our discussions on our recent Thursday night shows have been about 3D printing. So we decided it's time to create another day of the week that we dedicate to talking to the folks out there. I see Gordito Spree jumped in. What's up, man? Good to have you. James,
salute to you, Gordito.
James let me know that your favorite parts of Thursday are when I fail at talking shit. George
is so bad at it.
Have you ever seen the Boondock Saints? I always think I'm like that guy with Tourette's that's like, go fuck up a tree or whatever. He can't ever get his sayings right, mixes them up. That's me.
That's hilarious.
Just because James is so good at like that's what she said jokes, I always try to I insert them at the completely wrong awkward times just because it's funny how bad I suck at them in comparison.
Dude, honestly, the sea shed, I can't even say it right now, but that combination of jokage, like Dawn from The Office. Like I used to say it like when I was a kid a little bit, but like it became an obsession with The Office. Because that Michael dude would always say it. Yeah. So like I would then say it all the time with like me and the girl when we would watch it, and then she would say it when like it would be appropriate. So it just became a habit. And George is so bad at it.
That's another good one that matches up with me trying to talk shit. I'm a Michael Scott of talking shit.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's enthusiasm goes a long way. We have been producing a lot of stuff, and we're going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole of what it means to manufacture products and move them. Not even 3D printing, but just the business of manufacturing is a rabbit hole in itself. And I think what's fun about what we present, James, is that we're documenting and kind of fearlessly pulling the curtain back and just showing you the process of the progress that we have trying to create our ideas to life,
Dude, and what's really amazing is like, yes, we are doing it with the CR10S's. We currently have 3 of them, and it's a fantastic printer, giant bed size. But for people at home, man, the Ender 3 comes up right around like $200. And it's basically just a miniature version of this, but it's a full-on kit. So if you're like a tinkerer, like you get to build your machine, know it inside and out, and get into this hobby at like just like $200, spend like $50 on filament. You're set for a while.
I think that's a interesting topic in itself. Of it's interesting to hear that now that I have even the step above that with its few modifications that make your life a little bit more easy. I think the biggest thing for me that's a kind of a smack to reality is the initial learning curve you have at operating and getting a solid print, especially when it talks about when you're wanting to print more lustful, awesome things that aren't as base and flat, but tall and detailed items. You really have to have that printer dialed, and the process of learning how to get adhesion on the board. And like when you're first like actually taking like a paint, or one of those things that scrape paint, and you're sitting there like and trying to break your plastic off of a piece of glass with glue on it and stuff. There's a lot more physicality to it, and a little bit of like witch doctoring science to how you mix your glue and alcohol together, and what, do you use hairspray, and that there's, if you have any issues with your printer, with the way that it's giving you its feedback, you do that first test and it's not at the right, like it's digging right into the print bed, and you're like, why is it doing that? And it might be that you didn't screw a certain piece in all the way, or, oh, you didn't tell you in the instructions to make sure these pieces are extra tight before you get it all built together. I hear what you're saying at the couple $100 printer, but honestly, my direct recommendation to somebody that wants to just get a printer for personal use and print cool things, if your motivation is to print tight things, then spend the money and get the badass one. If I was buying one printer for myself, I would get me a dope like 750 to 1,000. What are they, Prusas?
Yeah, you can get a, well, the Prusa kit still comes how like the
they just came out
CR10S.
They just came out with a new one I saw today, which made the other one cheaper. These these things are like Cadillacs, man.
Yeah, definitely it's a step above what we have. I wouldn't say it's way better. It's a little bit smaller print bed, but not by much.
The print quality is the same, and that's the whole trick. And that's an interesting for out there. That's the pitfall of when the first thing you have to discover when you go to look at what printer to buy, it's realizing that you can get the same kind of quality of print out of a $200 or $300 printer if you're capable of going through the pains that can come with that. Versus, say, it's kind of like a cheap Windows computer at Best Buy versus a like all-in-one Mac that has this 3-year warranty or something, in a sense.
Yeah, like it's definitely you go with the Prusa. You can buy it already assembled, where all you do is pull it out of the box and plug it in. Now you can buy it as the kit, and when you buy it as the kit, you save yourself like $300. But it's not even like a full kit. It's literally just 2 parts, kind of like the CR10. And then you go like the cheap route, like the Ender. It gives you the same quality, but that thing is literally bolts and screws and just straight beams. So like you have to know your stuff. Like you could put that thing together, and I hear plenty of people on the internet, they put that thing together, they can never get accessible print, and they just sell it off.
Yeah,
like the frustration's too much.
I think the frustrations that people could experience could be a pitfall to them not actually enjoying or continuing to print if you don't get one that makes your life a bit easier out the gates. And so usually the Ender 3 and things are coming up as an excellent print farm concept, because you just buy a whole, when you get over those learning curves, then you know what to do. You can handle the problems. It's a part of the hobby and can be an enjoyable experience. But at first, and if you're not ready for it, it can be really a pitfall. Gordito's asking, is it just speed variations? And it's what we're describing is there's things like leveling the bed. When problems occur, like you run out of filament, your machine turns off, there's a nudge, the machine accidentally hits the plastic because it's it just like the computing system that it's within it. The more you upgrade, the more it's like having electric windows in your car, or having the nice stereo system versus that can take a USB versus just the CD player. They both have stereos, but one's a little bit fancier. It has tools to help you accommodate for the lack of know-how about leveling your bed, or safeguards for if you run out of filament or nudge the machine and things of that nature. So it's all these little bonuses that make it more plug and play and less having to know about all the precautions and things to troubleshoot. But the person that gets more comfortable and capable with those troubleshoots becomes a stronger manufacturer in the overall, especially when it comes to multiplying their printers for farming purposes.
Yeah, and the thing is you can also have like hiccups with those really nice machines. and then you're dealing with customer service back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you got the right company that has good customer service. And that's where we recommend a Prusa if you're going to buy like a top-notch FDM printer and you only want one printer. Because I don't think there's very many people I've heard of out there with farms of those.
Right.
They might have like one or two, just like
Mm-hmm.
one being one model, one might be a newer model, and they just keep getting newer models.
Well, the other thing it does do is it allows you to print a material that the Creality CR10S doesn't, like ABS. It basically has an enclosure capability, right? Or maybe it can reach a different kind of heat. What was that?
You're breaking up on me a little bit.
Oh, I was saying that I know the Prusa can print a material that the CR10S can't. And I believe it's because of the enclosure that it comes with.
Yeah, well, with enclosures, you can print PLA, or not PLA.
ABS.
ABS, that's what I'm thinking of. With ABS, it's a more rigid plastic when it's all said and done, but it needs a higher heat to like maintain its form. So you need an enclosure, and a lot of those nicer upper end printers will actually come with enclosures, like MakerBox, things like that.
Yeah. Which another fun thing that's happened over the course of these few weeks is that I had a buddy come over and he was totally paranoid by the fumes and toxic smells of chemicals in the room because I was learning the adhesive process, and so I was definitely a lot more messy and caveman-like with my alcohol and glue combination as I was trying to get my glue bottle to a certain point that I could get the right mixture and basically just go right from the bottle to the paper towel to get on the bed there. But before I was having to kind of mix it on the go, so there'd be quite a heavy alcohol smell. But there's an interesting thing about needing an enclosure with ABS is that also I've had to discover about the air particles and what kind of health risk there are to occupational health risks to 3D printing, and learn that there is some plastic that gets in the air. Nothing lethal, or like PLA is the safest. They have all these charts and studies of all these different materials, and PLA is far on the bar chart, but ABS is quite high. And they pretty much say no, you need to be having an enclosure for it, or at least a ventilation system. And there's all these conversations of like a lot of colleges and libraries have gotten 3D printers over the years and made it part of the course study, and sometimes they're just putting it like right in the midst of the human folk. And it's somewhere you don't want to necessarily have next to where people are like eating sandwiches and shit, especially if you don't have the proper ventilation and stuff. But at first 3D printing technology is so fresh that it's not like this stuff was even known. Like there wasn't, for a hot sec, there wasn't tests about what kind of health effects it could have. And people might have just been chilling, eating their burrito while they watch some ABS like melt down.
Also, like TPU, I mean, that's literally like a silicone type plastic that has some pretty nasty fumes. Also,
there's some pretty cool DIY cases out there, and the 3D printing company.
There's some cheap ones you can make, which is insulation foam. Like all it is to keep the heat in the inside where the printer is.
We got Duke shouting out, dog.
Solid.
Doogsy. What up, dog? He's asking what we're printing, man. So
well, I'm currently right now printing a Worlds Overrun hive. It consists of 6 pieces, and it takes 5 days to print 2 of them.
So I got some pics. If you can see the images, I'll throw up some. So this, the hive is a portion of the Thorn Hive Megamaw.
Yes.
And we're discussing the Worlds Overrun Thorn catalog. I think this is a hive actually with some.
That's what you have up right now.
I just threw up another one, but the Demon Prince. Now those are some thorns on the peripherals. You see 3 thorns there surrounding a hive. It's that mouth-looking shape, and that builds into the Megamaw here as those connect. It's modular, being able to be easily transported, broken down, rearranged. Yeah,
and you can see the size of it with the Demon Prince there. So the hives is like smaller bunker style building, and we're making on my end, I'm making a table. I'm going to be painting a table for Battlegrounds, so that once Warp Charge Gaming is set up there to stream games, we want to have product to show, and also it be useful and awesome. So those little bunkers are fantastic for smaller buildings. So we're going to have probably 2 of those on the board, and then 1 Mega Maw in the middle of the board with some other line of sight blocking terrain. But those are beautiful. I'm probably going to end up painting them the Nurgle scheme, so that's why there's like a Nurgle Demon Prince there.
Yeah, I'm stoked on the Nurgle idea. I just threw up the portals. I think that it's a pretty one, we didn't have the idea of doing them in Nurgle until last night, and the moment that we said it, I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm really excited about seeing these done Nurgle by you. That break up on you?
Yeah, Gordito, the models sit on the terrain very well. Like, it's just like any other GW type terrain, but like way more organic. You can see some print lines. You can actually see a couple smudges on that portal where I put some green stuff. I had a couple holes in it because I printed it too fast because I'd never printed something that big prior. So I cranked up the speed, hoping it wasn't going to take like 3 days. And it only took a day and a half. But next time I'm going to slow it because you can see like with the spines and stuff, the parent head will just move too fast to be able to do shapes like that. So you end up getting like seams and holes.
Dude, I'm trying to find, I swear that I think that I'm realizing my stream software here, as I load too many pictures, I start to lose other pictures. It drives me crazy. Here's the here's one of the pictures right off the Kickstarter Worlds Overrun of the Thornhive Mega Maw, and you can see color coded here the different components. So there's a crown on the top there that's in gold that can be separated. You see the outer layers there of the overall kind of cave-like structure, and then you see the pieces that James printing now, those bunkers in gray on the outskirts with those individual thorns sticking up. So yeah, this is just one catalog from, and you can see a few of them in some cool blue color there. But this is just some components of several Kickstarters that went down by Worlds Overrun. Tabletop Alchemy is in cahoots now. We are now licensed resellers of the Worlds Overrun product line, and we plan to be producing and trying to get this in the hands of a lot of people. So we're backed by Battlegrounds, our local game store in Richmond, Virginia. We're going to deck out a table there and just make it a beautiful showpiece for people to get to play on and experience, and hopefully pick up more of it for their own lives there. Because, man, you've already painted a little bit of this style of terrain in a Tyranid scheme, which obviously could have went in a ton of different color variations. But
yeah,
now we're flipping it to Nurgle, and it could be, you know, it also resembles a lot of dragony type feel. Could definitely go that direction too, kind of scaly and dragony.
Well, Gordito asked about them being hollow and how much they are. Well, yeah, it's nice that they're hollow. They're actually a 5 to 10% infill, which is like the interior scaffolding of the walls. So like, for instance, the portal, it's domed and hollow inside that you can like put something in, but the actual walls itself has about 3 layers, which is roughly about 1 millimeter thick, that creates that plastic shell. And then inside that is just filled with 5% infill of like a scaffolding. So it's very lightweight for considering the size of it. It's not like a resin piece, but it's still very strong. But like the sets, this is the thing, is these very intricate things take a long time to print. So like when you're talking about how long somebody's going to take to print, you're using more plastic, you're taking up time of the machine. So it adds to the cost based off of how big and intricate things are. So like the Mega Maw, there's another license holder for Worlds Overrun. He sells the entire Mega Maw as 30 pieces. I've conjoined the pieces so that it's only 15 pieces for ours. And he sells that for $500. Now, me and George were talking, like, that's a little bit out of most people's price range. And even with the things that we were pricing. So we were thinking like a $350 price range for us. And hopefully we don't get in trouble with Eric at Worlds Overrun for undercutting his other licensors. But we're just trying to make the community as happy as possible.
Well, I think it's also, you know, the price is an interesting concept, and that's been like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, that a lot of this discovery we've been going through is how to just be manufacturers in general in this evolving market, because the price is the inflation or price decrease is ever changing as the printers become more accessible. to everybody. I didn't finish my thought earlier, but when I laid all this stuff out at the game store, I was having several people say, man, you know, I remember back in high school, I had this dream of starting a 3D printing company, but they were like thousands of dollars back then to get what our machines do now for a quarter of the cost. And, you know, just the prices that may have held water even just a few years ago, as better machines are now so readily available, and, you know, the way the internet is with passing information on that, you know, obviously the price is going to reduce. And it seems to be that the general marketplace is in a $2 to $4 an hour type price bracket for printing. So that, you know, that's another part of the process is where James particularly has been spearheading trying to design, and we're discovering how to slice things up to not need supports, and how can you get the optimum amount of print time with the least amount of materials with the most robust product to be able to make it economical, you know, and worth taking up the cost. It's also funny that a lot of times that the cost, and when you're doing by the print hour, it may not physically cost that much in electricity or in plastic, but it's about the opportunity cost of what you could have been printing. There's a lot of interesting variables when it comes to price. I actually have I got the video that you took of that looking real nice. Let me see if I can. Yeah, check this out. I'll pop them up side by side. Blam. Yeah, this is James's recent design. This is one of my favorite tabletop Alchemy originals now, and that is this junkyard billboard, and we can pretty much put any logo on it, and it's sick. This is you're seeing the 100% size in James's hand, which I've also blown that up to about 130%. I actually have mine right behind me. I'll flip the view here.
So our goal, so this is the original design. It has a lot of supports in it because this is printed as one entire piece. So everything that has like a 80-degree overhang is going to have support. So this entire bottom part gets filled with supports. This entire thing gets filled with supports. And it makes this like a 15-hour print. Now, that would make it like a $30 piece. So what we're trying to do is find a way to cut this down so that each individual component would be like a model that you glue together and then can be printed on one bed. And we're trying to make this like a $20 piece. Mm-hmm. Because we feel at $20, and it'll probably be a blank one or having our logos on it. But we'll also be able to offer, if you have a logo or a team or something, we can then print that on yours. Yep. As just renting our printer. So it just comes down to having your design as a simple one color PNG. I can then put it on here. It might add the print time just a tiny bit. So instead of like a $20 piece, it might be like a $25 piece to have your logo on it. And then obviously scale. We can scale pretty much anything. As once I get it keyed properly, it'll fit to scale. So the idea is to have no supports. So it cuts down in material time and then also cuts down in print time. And it'll just be a small, easy kit for you.
Here's the picture I took of Battlegrounds. You saw the Warp Charge Gaming. There's Battlegrounds next to a Tau Ethereal there. Pretty ill. Yeah, so yeah, that's super cool. I can that's getting painted up right now by one of the owners of Battleground. I'm looking super excited to see that all done by the enthusiastic store owner there. Let's see what Gordito's. I would cut some rectangles and make it some sniper tower. Nice. Yeah. I like it. What we really need right now, and just to share with the interwebs, I also got that video of the adjustable movement trays. I'm dying to get these in production. We've seen them out there. You can see this video of this guy.
Well, we know someone that's producing some, or at least trying to produce some. He's in development stages. So we are also in development stages because there's really no like beating someone to market. That's the thing about these printers is like once you see it, you can design it. So the laws and legalities just kind of come down to your design and taking that straight file and selling it to somebody else or having someone else print it. So like you can have cease and desist, things like that, but once you make small alterations, it becomes your own original design. So something like this is very possible for us. So we've been playing around, at least I've been playing around in design softwares trying to figure out how to do this a little bit differently so that we have our own version of that in either 25, 32, and 40 mils.
Yep. There's a look at some of the pieces right now. And here's a funny instance, but the white ones in the middle, they're actually they're an attempt at an original design that they're just a little too big for 32s or they're too big for 25s and too small for 32s, and that's can be some of the painfalls of learning how to get your measurements correct inside these softwares. It's easier than it's not as easy as it looks, I suppose.
Yeah, because there's tolerances. So like if you do it exactly the same size as the base, it won't fit in. So you then have to make it a little bit bigger, but then how much bigger based off of your printer?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it's like, how many can you fit quantity wise? And let's see what Duke says. Tried vacuum forming a few times for terrain. I'm not familiar with that. Tried vacuum forming a few times.
I've actually spoke to you that before about taking hot like sheets of plastic card and like vacuum table and having the model there and putting the form over it to mass produce. Like these craters from GW.
Oh, right. Yeah, you mentioned it with those. Yeah.
These are vacuum formed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can hear me. I had the microphone out.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So this is vacuum formed terrain. It's a very cheap and easy way because all you have to do is take like a resin mold or something with a good detail to it. You set it on a vacuum formed table with hot plastic. You can heat it up with a heat gun or even a blow dryer in some cases. And then you just turn the vacuum on. It pulls the plastic over this. You cut it out and boom. Got some terrain. And that's the old school way of making things. And it's still used to this day, but most manufacturers using injection molding are now even 3D printing.
Yeah, got it. Got it good.
Yeah. Bet you do got it in your mouth.
Damn it. I had nothing.
Because you do like long cylindrical things in your mouth.
Damn it, James. No, you do. Used to do it for RC cars and for training later on. I see. That's pretty cool. Yeah, James, make things happen, dog. Here's some looks at some other utility type items. I got to use these for the first time we did a 4-player kill team match this past Sunday, and I gave everybody one of these to be able to hold their command points on. It was like, that's so cool. Yay. Everybody's happy. They got a place to put their command point. It was a glorious feeling. Oh, and by the way,
I'm a big fan of those. I use those.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool. The D&D folks love this multi dice.
Gordito.
Damn it.
Yes. Oh, it's the best when Gorditos talk shit to you.
I'm gonna see Gordito soon. I'm gonna kick you in the nuts, dog.
Dude, don't say that. Remember, all of our fans are gonna be like, "Nah, we don't want to visit Warp Charge Gaming. They're gonna kick you in the nuts."
I'm just kidding. I'd never do that. That's terrible. That'd be just wrong.
You just got a Rochambeau for it, you know.
I'll just earn his love, so somehow stick up for me and.
Dude, he'll stick up for you when you actually have like something to stick up. I mean, you just get beat constantly.
Don't even talk about it, James. I'll see you this Thursday, dog. I'm gonna take you on, man. We're gonna you better get your damn stuff ready and.
All right, I'll be ready Thursday night, dude.
Yeah.
As soon as it's over, it's over.
Showdown.
Oh, George, gonna get beat again. It's gonna be hilarious.
Not this time.
All right.
So.
Well, back to 3D printing instead of George getting beat up.
Yeah.
Virtually. I do want to get more feedback from the people out there about what type of terrain is not being provided for you. Like I've seen other companies have some Necron stuff. World Overrun has a mixture of Tau, this Chaos Nitty type stuff, and some Grove like Elvish Forest stuff. But what else is out there that you want? Like I have not seen enough billboards, so I made my billboard. Like also we did it for advertisement purposes, like for stores, because it's cool to have like some sloganage. But what else do you guys need? Like there's lots of people make movement trays, wash holders, but what everyone wants on their table?
Yeah, you got me thinking about the same thing. I mean, like I love the idea of multi levels, but it's always such a pain in the butt to move your hands through it. You know, like I like the idea of feeling out more than just that flat plane.
See, me, I'm always thinking about a single unit line of sight blocking terrain, and then making that fit in the world. Like, I'm just thinking, what's the best way to do that? Like, maybe because it's in the future, right? If you're talking 40K, I mean, you can stack some cars on top of each other. That could be kind of cool, but it doesn't really fit 40K-esque.
Yeah. And then when you're talking about trying to create original material, you can't just like do blown up rhinos everywhere and stuff.
Yeah, then you're getting IP infringements for sure. It is quite like, ruined vehicles that aren't rhinos.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the vehicles part is like really iffy because of the fact that GW owns IP, which is more valuable than just like a designed file. Like they've created entire worlds that they own. So making any vehicle that could actually count as like one of their vehicles isn't going to work. Now, something they may have suggested in a book that we've never seen, we can have our own interpretation on that fit their world, but we can't have anything they've actually produced before.
Now, what we do have on a similar vein is these sweet satellites, and that's a good, for instance, of like, you know, vehicles that aren't rhinos. So it's like a satellite is a mechanical type piece that's not the typical ruinous thing. You know, what other kind of vehicle-y type things could we have that wouldn't resemble straight 40K IP, but also would look like it belongs in a sci-fi world in the future kind of thing? Like even in my mind, I was thinking even like a space pod, like an escape pod or something, looks like a drop pod, you know?
Yeah. The best I was thinking is almost construction type material. So, you know, they've come out with these forklifts and cranes and all that, but like there is other type of machinery they probably use, kind of like a dreadnought almost. You could probably do something that's mechanical that doesn't quite look like it, but then you might infringe on like the alien like working robot thing. You know what I'm talking about? The yellow thing that Ripley drives at the end to like rip apart the alien.
Basilisk emplacements like the old Forge World ones that can take any big gun. Yeah. Oh, weird. I was watching the delay and it looked funny. Yeah, Gothic hover bus. That's a good one.
I don't think there's any infringement there.
Yeah, get on it, James. We need a Gothic hover bus.
Okay.
I was just imagining how much I would have a certain joy of a like moving robotic piece to the game. I would like to up my game or elevate my game, as Worlds Overrun would say, to have like mechanical movement going on inside the 6x4 board, like a train set, for instance.
That'd be pretty cool.
I want some sort of robotics on the board. We got to kick it up a notch. So if that could be a Gothic hover bus somehow cruising around on the board, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't think I can do all that, dude.
Dude, okay. So like we get an electric train set.
Okay.
And then we got to like somehow make the tracks hide. And then make one of the trains look like a Gothic hover bus. Done.
Dude, I think you're on drugs.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening, man. Like,
well, damn it, make it happen. Monorail, make an Imperial Amazon HQ 40K. Okay.
Do we need to get drones and just have someone flying drones over the table the entire time, and like you can decorate the drone to look like a Helldrake?
Dude, that'd be awesome. I would take that too. Take a drone that hovers around the board as part of the 40. You know, talk about getting immersed, man.
Yeah.
Put a camera on that bastard.
Well,
Okay, so 3D print a hover drone. Let's go.
This guy thinks I like know how to do this or something.
I mean, I'm just trying to.
Like I'm winging this shit as we go along. Like I was shocked that I was able to design something like this and print it out. Like, are you serious?
First up, sign. Next
like
up, hover
8-year-old
drone,
me
dude.
is freaking out on the inside that this is a possibility.
Yeah. No, it's great. That's a gateway to a hover drone. So maybe it's going to be a minute for it to hover, but we'll be there soon.
Sure. In your dreams, that's fine.
That's all right. Also, some bunkers and trenches that aren't walls or of martyrs. Yeah, bunkers and trenches. That's part of that three-dimensional, that extra depth that I like, where it's not just a flat landscape. I wonder if there's a way to do that, James, where like, it's like, say that you printed like a casing. It's almost like let's say it was like 3-4 inches high. So that like instead of you just like putting over like a plastic bed or board over top of your table, that it would be like a elevated board so that you could have like the trenches and dips. I think it's more like there's a different type of printing that'd be better for this. Like if we were talking about the GW tiles,
you can do open forge and do trenches and have some type of end cap that like creates your slopes to the trenches. And you can just make it extremely modular with open lock.
I like the idea of a board that has indentions into it. That's exciting. I'm not near as excited about the idea of like, for instance, there's trenches that came out with with one of the Kill Team expansions, and it's just basically the trenches sit on top of the flat table. So there's trenches there, but it's on the same level as everything else. I want those trenches to like go indent into the board,
Costs way too much money to make, because if you're putting things under a board, that means you have to have supports for your board. So then you're actually like creating a board and then putting a board on top of it.
Yeah.
So like that's just a lot of like material.
Yeah, it really is.
So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to have something that's flat on your tabletop that you already own. And then from there, you create like some type of stanchion, and then you just have stuff above that.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. Yeah, those ones Loyal was talking about the same ones I was talking about from the Kill Team set. Yeah, I want those trenches exactly like they are. I just want them to be inside of the board. I'm going to grab this piece from my closet just for the sake of the camera.
And then a 40K bridge. I don't know what would be a proper 40K bridge. So I just don't know. I don't think I know the fluff enough to like know the ins and outs of the worlds of like what is expected to be seen.
I didn't get to hear you because I had my headphones off, but like
I'm talking to everyone else, not you.
Okay, I figured. Okay, so yeah, GW Realms piece here. It's just like I want this piece with those trenches inside. So like to print this piece isn't practical with our style of printer.
No.
I forget the other style of printing that makes more sense for something like this.
You would probably want to CNC it, actually.
Yeah, you cut the shit.
You would take a flat piece that's that big already and cut into it.
We had Chicken Bone jump in there. Hey, buddy. Yeah, we're just finally we put a tabletop alchemy show up, man. We've been talking too much 3D printing on Thursday, and we want to actually talk about gaming on that day again.
So you're gonna get double us.
Yeah, double time now. Episode 1.
But this is like us talking about 3D printing. So it's a matter of if you got questions about 3D printing, we're happy to answer. Also, help us build the world, man. Like you come to us with some cool ass ideas, and it sparks an inspiration. You might get a package in the mail with your own creation, like being printed right to your door.
Oh, totally.
Like this is a community thing. Like tabletop alchemy is not a matter of us getting rich. It's a part of the future. It's literally like if these printers can make us like $500 a week so that we can pay our bills, we just want to provide. Like give you guys some cool stuff that's out there, get ideas from you guys so that we just have like the coolest shit around. Like, so basically the Warp Charge Gaming, like, gamers around the world can just have the coolest shit and everyone can be envious. And you'd be like, yeah, that's how it is for us. I don't know, man.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Definitely trying to push and grow. Like we have no problems. Like, I feel like there's kind of always that world of sharing and coveting your information and knowledge, but I've always found collaboration and openness with what you know, and also humility with what you don't, takes you the farthest. So the
future is open source.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's truly the future. If you old people don't see that right now, then you're crazy. I had a buddy of mine, I was telling him about tabletop alchemy and how, like, the idea is to get to the point where, like, we help everyone how to do this. We have our own files and we just sell files and licenses just like these other companies, and we just, like, have fun, get a little residuals and, like, have fun. He was like, you're crazy, don't tell people your secrets, don't sell your files. And I'm like, dude, you are insane. Like, that is not the world anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, we're in that, dude, kind of.
I like the idea of some gun racks. I really wanted to make like a 40K like gun store.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And like a 40K blockbusters.
Oh, nice.
It's like some throwback shit.
Graveyards are a good idea. I like fighting in graveyards, especially.
Yeah, 40K graveyards.
Yeah, like I do it in Kill Team a lot with Death Guard.
Didn't you just like burn everybody in the future? Like, everyone's cremated.
There's bound to be some graveyards from way back when.
I don't think so. They just burn the whole planet.
You guys,
it's like White Walkers, dude. They come back to life.
That's a fair point too. Come up with terrain that aligns with the special terrain rules. You know how there's, like, if we were to go through the 40K rules and look at the different terrain types, there's often several.
They actually updated some of that in Chapter Approved, by the way.
Right, that's true. Is there but, like, you know, I'm sure there's definitely some GW products that match up with, like, the pictures that they exemplify with the rules there, but there's not near enough, like, dedicated, like, this is this type of terrain to play with these kind of special rules. Gas pipes, barrels, dangerous terrain. We got a pretty good situation on barrels. Gas pipes, definitely our own unique piping wouldn't be a bad situation at all.
Dude, George, you got to show off all the barrels.
Yeah, I don't have them all physically next to me right now, but I can present images of some. Here we go. Yeah, here's some shots of some barrels right now. We were I'm considering taking these up another 10% or so. We've doing some chit chat with some folks at the game store there. You can see the satellites. You can see the crates there. Those crates were actually one of the first sales we made as Tabletop Alchemy. Took some of this up to the shop this week. So those barrels are real cool, and yeah, those walls are pretty cool too. Those are the smaller version, but I have, like, printed those at 200%, and they're real nice as big barricades. Yeah, barrels, walls, crates.
Ideas for the Manufactorum, like, walls, like, just basically a facade that you can put on anything.
Yeah, those are great.
Did you have any pictures of those guys? Because those are awesome. Because not even I was thinking this way, and this guy was like, yeah, this is gonna work, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna work.
Yeah, I actually don't at the moment. They're nice. We sold them, so it might make it tougher. I probably have some on my phone somewhere. But yeah, there's lots of cool things, and that's part of the interesting dynamic. Oh God, my camera died because I forgot to plug it in.
I thought you did that on purpose.
Mayday.
Hey, so everyone out there, did you guys check out our video with Frontline Gaming?
Oh, that happened.
Besco Sparring. It's like that happened. That was a thing.
That was pretty cool.
I know it's not 3D related, but that's still very important to us.
That's Thursday night talk.
I don't care. I want to talk about it now because it happened today.
I want to talk about it now. See if I can get my camera happy.
So part of the Crush Gothic ship. So there's a company out there that makes a Gothic ship that is crashed, and it's like 6 parts. It's massive, I have yet to print it, but he has the files for free on Thingiverse. And he has an interesting licensing thing where if you join his Patreon, you can actually license his stuff. So it's not very hard for us to be able to print that for you guys if it's something you're interested in. You can have your own printer.
That is definitely part of the equation here, is that as we showed the different things that we can commercially resell, there's still there's a conversation of you not being limited to what we have to show. You are totally able to utilize the service of Tabletop Alchemy to print what you might be dreaming of. So if there's, if you want to provide the files, then we can provide the machines for you to print whatever you may want. It's just a whole nother different situation when we're trying to package and advertise products that aren't commercially available to sell, but it's totally capable to be able to sell the time on the printers themselves. So keep that in mind. Just basically just hit us up for a quote and we will do our best to get that back to you in a timely fashion. The camera's going haywire here.
All right, Gordito, I will talk to you privately, and you can get me your files for your group, and we can definitely print that for you. And George, you're seizing up over there, man. I'm getting a seizure.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right.
I'm working on it. There we go. I would buy 3. So when this is up and running to get my stuff printed, I would make some billboards in my group's clan name, right? Like, hell yeah, exactly. He'd buy 3. Well, that's already something we can make happen at this point. So that's, like James said, let's talk on the offline, and the things that you have seen or things you have seen out there on the web.
Okay. So for walls and modular things, this is something that we can probably do as far as kind of like Space Hulk, like having bulkhead doors, inners of ship walls, kind of like
check it out. I just threw up Worlds Overrun's walls that we already have access to this design right now.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say.
This is the open lock system. You could use magnets if you wish. It already comes with the holes there if you look at the corner pieces.
Yeah, so you can use clips or magnets, your choice.
Yep. So we can already do an entire modular set for like dungeons, or this is actually more spaceship, sci-fi design. So that's ideal for what you're describing.
Yeah, like the Gellerpox guys, like their whole, what is that, Rogue Trader?
I mean, heck, here's even
perfect for that.
What we haven't shown here. We already have some of this printed, these modular pieces. There's Scorch and Grove already in our wheelhead. Here's the Obelisk that you can get inside of a desert terrain set. So just printing out these 100mm tiles here, you can make with like 6 pieces. You got a nice sized, about 12-inch display board. I think about
each one of those squares are about 6 by 6. So when they go together, 4 of them, they make a foot by foot.
So there's more examples floating around. Here we go. Here's the entire Scorch set.
Yeah, and what's fantastic about the Scorch set is it already has the sand ridges in it. So if you take fine play sand and you just basically cover the whole thing in like scenic glue and sprinkle this play sand on it, it's completely flocked to look like a desert already.
Right. Here's I printed this piece. This is someone else's print of the tree from Grove, but there's like 15 different trees or something. Here's one of mine printed. This is one of my first attempts. There was a few flaws in here, but that's a piece of the Scorch set there with the end caps. You can see you don't have to have the square edges. He's already designed the end caps there, so it actually rounds off into the table, which is excellent.
Yeah, so you can make islands or just terrain features or area terrain, for example, if you're doing a forest or want to do like a tar pit area.
Yep, there's my there was my tree there, and here's the end caps on the printer there. You can see them all going at once there. So yeah, we have some modular terrain capability. We're just hungry for more, you know, and especially stuff we haven't thought of. So, you know, original ideas is definitely just exciting to have an exclusive product is something we're aiming for. Here's some more of those Grove pieces. This is meant to be more of a grassy, you know, a lot of clover, mossy feel to it. natural like woodland rocks. Got some crop circle style action. Pretty cool. Look at some of the more varieties of trees from Grove. So we've only printed that one tree so far from Grove and those 4 tiles. So we're still excited to discover a lot more of these prints. Right now we're on a mission to take care of the Thorn set, all that sci-fi looking Mega Ma business. And that's about 160 hours of print time to go through all this alien stuff. So James and I have both been kind of bouncing off.
How's it going, man?
Who we get?
We got Trevor.
Oh, what up, man? What up, suckers? Trevor, bro, on your side of the town, man?
No, man, he's our Shadespire buddy.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's right here, man. Right here.
Nice.
Getting the finishing touches.
Get back to work.
Finishing touches, man.
Yeah, we have to fight for him, man. James has been working on all your stuff, and I've been like, what about my Gallowpox? But no, we know we want to get that stuff out. The night haunts looked amazing too. Not that we want to talk too much about that, because this is Tabletop Alchemy show. We got Thursday night for gaming. We're gonna show off those models and everything. Yeah,
I'll definitely show those models off if they're still here, because I might be sending them out Wednesday.
Nah, no, didn't get the man. I have barely paid attention to Shadespire, my friend. Honestly, shit's been moving so fast that like I gotta even though next weekend, not this weekend, but next is Shadespire tournament, and I need to be prepared to participate. Wait till the end of the month. Something cool happening. Intriguing. But yeah, haven't paid as much attention. The only thing I did with Shadespire is when the restriction list came out, I found out how many I had in my deck, made it a legal deck, and then I walked away from it, but I haven't got to play test it too much. Oh, Trevor's telling you to wait till the end of the month on his order there.
Okay.
Okay, get back to painting my stuff, James.
No, I'm still finishing it. Still gonna get done. Because Gordito's got his model on the way.
Hell yeah! Plus, you're painting Harlequins for Tumby.
Yeah, and then Ali just sent another model today.
Yeah, man's busy. The man's busy.
I'm constantly busy. Spending during the day, I'm designing stuff for Batman.
Yeah, I mean we haven't mentioned too much. We were talking about some of the trials and tribulations, but today we just bought our 1,000 UPCs, and that is an interesting world there, James. Oh, he's gonna need some Oryx and some Spike Claws next.
Well, I have Spike Claws right here, brother.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah, that was pretty interesting, James. So there's this thing, the global system. There was apparently a nonprofit organization that came up with I don't know how the history totally unfolds. I didn't go too deep, even though it's an interesting subject. But this nonprofit organization became like either the national, like U.S. standard, or it seems to be it's globally. It's the global standard. It stands for like GS1 is the term that they rephrase it as. And it's pretty much the only source to buy legitimate UPC codes from. That anywhere that from what I'm gathering, because there's hundreds of resellers out there, if not thousands. There's about 100 authorized global standard resellers where you know that they're sanctioned and certified through the global standard to have legitimate UPC codes. But because there's like an EAN number for European transactions, there's a different code for Canada as well, and you're getting this. I think it was like a GNSR. You're getting this acronym that basically where they will assign you a legitimate business number, like a number that corresponds to your business, and that when you tag it into your product codes, that it will refer to your business, right? And without that, you're basically just this generic business with these product codes, and as those codes get used up over time, then it could no longer be valid. But the thing is, so that's a rough way to try to say it. The thing that's really weird is that if you try to buy your UPCs from the official general or global standard company nonprofit place, it's like $90 starting off for one. You want one, and so like if let's say you sell a shirt design that has small, medium, and large, that means that you need 3 UPC codes. And to get this official one, it was like $90 per. But then at the same time, you can go on eBay and get like 100 for $1, and by these other third-party resellers. So it's really strange is that there's all these different resellers with all these different prices that aren't even near each other. Some of them were like thousands of dollars. Like when I put in 500 into this one site and it came up back with like $44,000. Like that made any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I know. But like if you type in like I'd like to buy a UPC code, the very first thing that pops up, let me see if I can show right now. I'll try. Yep. Okay. So buy a UPC code. Yeah. So buy a UPC code official site, 100,000 clients. All right. Let's see. We want to buy one. This is where they tell you, do I really need it? How do I get one? Yeah, use the order page. Okay, here it is. All right. So if you're looking at the screen, how many UPC codes are you looking for? I'll take 500, please. I have 500 different products. Add to cart. $44,000. What? Oh, you can't see the total. There you go. There you go, friends. That's dumb. Okay, but then okay, 1,000. I'll take 1,000, please. Oh, that's gonna be $89,000. Sorry, there's no discount. Okay, I'll just take one. How about just one? That's gonna be $89, please, for one UPC. So that made 0 sense. And that's the very first Google headline there.
I wonder how many people actually pay that much.
It's insane. So like then I read about it, and I comes to find like there's plenty of people that have plenty of success for years and years by going to Amazon, or I'm sorry, eBay. But but there's cases of that you'll buy your UPC from a third party that is kind of using, because like let's say that a vendor there or manufacturer, they buy 10,000 UPC codes or whatever. I know a lot of retail shops have like 15,000 plus items in it. Obviously that's not all from the same manufacturer, but let's say that somebody bought that many, then I guess like somebody gets a hold of those codes and then sells them out, and they work for a little while until that vendor actually starts using the ones that the other person sold. I don't understand it, but we got like 1,000 for like $14, not 44,000. It was a quite weird thing. So I don't know if that intrigues anybody.
Are you doing some illegal shit, George?
No, that didn't seem illegal. It seemed like there's a no. It seems like
I think you just bought someone's social security number offline.
Apparently, I got a letter of authenticity. Apparently, it's a if anything's going on illegal, it's on the other end where they're selling bad information or bunk shit. Has to be store loans after a short establishment. Going from online store to an actual retail store for in-store products. The only thing I can imagine. Yeah, I don't quite understand how. So I'm guessing there's a time period where some companies out there bought a shit ton of UPC codes, because like the company that we bought our UPC codes from has been in business for like 15 years. So they've been selling UPC codes for 15 years at right now the going rate $14 for 1,000 of them. So let's hope they work. But they give you, they tell you how to use it for the EAN, internationally and nationally. We're going to try to use it on our products. Next step now is that we're about to get these listed on the Battlegrounds Amazon store, and be able to have that Amazon store linked up and intertwined with the Warp Charge Gaming website on the Tabletop Alchemy section. So a little bit of digital logistics there, a little bit of red tape to jump through to set up more capabilities of having this thing be in motion.
Dude, we're trying, guys. We literally are two broke guys without a job,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
we
wouldn't say
managed to get
without a
3
job.
printers. I mean,
We
we make money.
We choose not to have a job. Because I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's not like we're missing one. We've chosen to lead the life we live.
Yeah, we definitely work. There's no question about that. We definitely work, but without the traditional sense of having a job. So it's one of those things where we managed to come up with printers. We managed to make this get this far. It's just keep plugging away, getting UPCs in the low, and linking it to an Amazon store so you can buy our prints on Amazon, and it'll be easy for the world to achieve 3D printing awesomeness. And is it worth printing 32mm bases? It's very easy to print 32mm bases, except they're not going to be 100% perfect. Like Trevor's base right here, that's almost completely finished painted. So like that has some super fine design because it's all injection molded. Well, when you have a 3D printed base like this, it's not 100% perfect, but definitely tabletop awesomeness.
Oh, it's very doable for sure. I mean, like for instance, I saw a bro at the game store. He had these like clay baked bases, which were like, you know, props. He like got this type of material that he like rolled with like a dough roller and like stamped in his prints and like did cookie cutter shapes of base sizes and baked them in the oven. And it's like, it's definitely, and he was like, damn, you know, I did all this work when you could have just printed that, you know? So yeah. It's definitely better some ghetto shit like that. Not that it came out bad or anything, but there's some very worthwhile bases that can be printed.
Yeah, and what's nice is like with 3D printing softwares like Tinkercad, it's completely free. You can design a base for your guys to be on, and then take that base design and make it bigger for a board, and then have your inlaid bases fit exactly so that it's all thematic and perfect. So it doesn't look like your guys are on bases. It looks like they're part of a diorama. And like that's the best way to win painting, like best painted. It's because some people can't see past the 15-foot rule. Like they get up to your miniature, they don't really know exactly what they're looking for. They're not trained artists. They look at what looks cool. And a lot of times people can cheat on what looks cool. And once you have an awesome display board, it kind of like takes people away from how good or how bad your minis are painted, as long as they look really like cohesive and tabletop standard.
So Gordito is asking, what do you think is the worst project to print? You mentioned earlier that a downfall from printing is the idea of printing someone else while printing a current project. Yeah, that can be a real pain in the ass when you want to print something or you have this idea that you want to try out, but your printers are taken up. The worst project to print.
That's a pain I really have.
Yeah,
it's a deep pain in my heart when I design something cool and I want to print it, but like my printer's still going to be going for the next 18 hours. It's sad. It's very sad. It makes me want more and more printers.
I'm finding, I mean, like things that are, I mean, multiple files that have to build one file, like it's definitely much more easy to deal with, or like less daunting to be able to just hit print and be done. So the better a print fits all into one single print bed, the more enjoyable it is, because you can kind of set it, forget it. When it's done, you're done. When you have to print multiple instances, like James has been doing with the Megamon, like I'm currently doing with a portion of the Thorn set, you don't get as much satisfaction between each completion because you just want to get to the end and see it all. So I've enjoyed more the ones that are done whenever they're complete.
Yeah, I agree. Like when you can fit everything that finishes the print on the build plate, you print it, and then once it's done, you have this cool thing finished. So like the Thorn Prime minis, like those are awesome because like they take like 5-6 hours. You hit print, it's already done. So you can put like 3 or 4 of them on a bed.
I thought I got the right one, but it was not the right one. This is another example. This random growth here from the Thorn set does it in a single print too, and it does a good job. Same thing with the satellite and with the sign that James made, that they can print in a single print. The thing about the sign is the supports is a pain in the butt. We're really looking forward to splicing that up and avoiding some of the tear down afterwards.
It'll require assembly, but that's no different than all of us model assemblers out there.
Yeah, it's better than potentially breaking the model.
Yeah, like all of my billboards, I have broken off that bottom trestle
Yeah,
because it just the supports want to hold on to it.
I've gotten 2 of them to remain, but yeah, my recent one I effed up bad. Do you what's score do you say? Do you guys find yourself printing certain projects taking up too much filament? I don't know if I made sense there. No, I mean, that
Yes and no. The product that I did not think was going to take as much filament that did was actually the dice tray that George is recording from right now. Because it's just big and bulky, so it just uses a lot because it's a lot of structure. But you'd be surprised how little some of these things take as far as filament. Like the hive, for instance, like a single, not the mega mall, but a single hive only uses like half a roll. So that's fairly cheap as far as your cost. I mean, it's like $10 as far as your cost of plastic.
I've gotten to notice the most about how much something does take when, as far as experiencing it, like seeing it with my own eyes. That when you get to the end of the roll, as the spool gets down to the very end, you're like, I wonder how much I got left there. Can I do this next print? And you kind of are guesstimating if there's enough left on the roll to finish the next print. That's when you can kind of like get a good feeling of how much it takes to do something.
I agree. I don't know if you've gotten as tricky as I have with getting to the end of the roll. Is I have set up some prints knowing that it's not going to have enough on there, and I wait until like it's that last like loop around, and I pull it off the thing. I have it there, and then I take another roll, and it's another like smaller like almost finished roll that I need to just like I don't know what to do with. So I will take the end of that, and I'll take a lighter, and I will press them together, fuse them, and then I chop off a little mushroom like little thing. I take a little bit of sandpaper, I sand it, and it goes through just fine.
Dang, no, I ain't doing none of that, but wow.
Yeah, I get a little creative if it comes down to the wire.
That's impressive.
Hey, it's better than like having spools of just almost finished rolls.
So Gordito was curious of how, now that you know that it takes a lot, how do you modify it? And that's a big part of the science that I'm starting to learn, and James has dived into, is about the ways that you put the density into the object. Also, the print speed itself. Like you can try to ramp up. You can tell the machine to go faster than is actually a smart speed to be printing at. And sometimes there's more room to go as far as how fast you tell the printer to go, because you take the safe bet and slow it down a little bit. So
yeah, so like George is saying, is like I've definitely dove into this full force. A lot of it comes from experience, and if you're a smart enough person to pick up on these little things, because it's just repetition over and over again, the printer doing its thing. But you'll learn, like I did on the portal, that like spiky things, because that prints in 2 pieces. It prints the big dome part of the back end, and then it prints the face with the spikes going up, so that when it's done, you put the 2 pieces together and it doesn't need any supports. Well, the spikes going up, because they're like so like far apart and come to points, when it goes and prints really fastly, it doesn't have time to like fill that form, where the rest of the huge body can easily take it going that fast because it's a large form. So that's something I definitely had to learn. As you can see how the spikes have these like lines through them, where I've had to try to fix. And as I start to paint it and put it together and use more green stuff, I'll fix all those holes just like any modeler can do. But that was like a huge learning lesson for me, where I know that, all right, anything that's kind of sticks up like a spike, I need to slow that print down. And different softwares allow you to adjust those settings like in those certain areas, where free softwares, you have to do the whole thing with that certain setting. So like Cura is a free Google software, and that you have to set the whole thing. So instead of like printing at 80 millimeters a second, it'll print at like 60 or 40 millimeters a second, so that it has enough time to finish those out without any problems. And I learned that just by trial and error. As far as your infill, well, the interior scaffolding, like the less infill you have, the percentage, like 5% or so, it's only going to take up 5% of the entire model surface. So as it starts to build layers on top of it, there might be too big of a gap, and you're going to have plastic sinking in, and it's not going to create a solid level. So when you start to see your model have these too big of a gaps, you know that your infill needs to be greater, so like maybe 20%, so that it doesn't have these huge gaps where it can build a layer upon that. So that changes your print time and material. Supports are another big thing. Is if there's any overhang and there's nothing to support it. So let's say you have something that has like a U that dips down and goes over. Well, it prints everything on the same level. So once it's, say the solid body's here and this is just like the small little overhang, it's going to, when it gets to the same area, it's going to try to print here as it does here, where there's a base here and no base here. So it literally will have nowhere to print in midair and it'll fall. So you need something that supports it. So it'll generate its own support, and you can figure out the density needed where it's strong enough to hold it, but not too weak where it's going to break in mid-print by the time it gets there. Because you have a bed going back and forth, you have a head going back and forth, which all creates vibration. And those vibrations, because the extruder nozzle is so close to the print, it can knock it. And if it knocks it and breaks it, then you just have a failed print and you have to start all over.
Yeah, I actually got some blooper prints that I want to show an image of right now. So that is the science of that. I was more than I expected getting into it. And even with a fancy machine doesn't help you know those things any better. It's a part of the process is to know. Here's a shot of what happened when we've had one of our printers already fail, and I'm glad to have it happen in the early time period here, but look at this mess. So what went down here is exactly that, is where this one didn't even need supports. In this case, there's always a variable of reasons that things can go to shit. You can see I started out here with a pretty good print, but what went down is that the thing that went wrong with this printer is that the bed began to stop cooling. And whenever it began to stop cooling, then the print would lift from the bed, and it would then miss its mark as it traveled over the print and start to get, and I woke up to that stringy mess there. It was a very satisfying feeling. And yeah, I didn't know that the print bed was going bad, so it was a part of, well, it was also a part of my adhesion. You know, like they really don't tell you in the instructions to make this alcohol glue solution. I mean, granted, the information is easily accessible. Like, why doesn't my stuff stick to my print bed? And there's all kinds of videos and suggestions.
When you buy the printer, they give you some masking tape.
Yeah.
Like these sheets of masking tape, and that's it. And they don't even tell you what to do with the masking tape. Yeah. And what the masking tape allows you to do is the sticky side stays on the tape, but like the plasticky material, because it's plasticky, when the bed heats up, it allows the plastic from the printer to stick to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, that was critical.
A lot of people use, because that masking tape becomes a pain in the ass and expensive to like keep putting on and off. They'll use cheap glue sticks. And they'll just take a glue stick, pop the cap off it, put it on there, because PVA glue is a water-soluble glue. So it's not going to like create a permanent adhesion, but it's going to stick enough where the print's not going to move. Well, because of hobbying and knowing how to flock things, I made my own alcohol PVA solution inside an Elmer's glue bottle. And I take a paper towel and I just put it on there, and it creates a nice little film where it makes it really easy to pop the print off, but it's strong enough to hold the print in place to print. And that's something I came up with, shared it to George after he didn't know that you even needed to make something to like stick the print to the bed. Mm-hmm. And from there, you kind of learn your own formula by playing with it. At first, you might put too much glue or not enough glue, and you'll just learn from trial and error. I mean, a lot of it's just tinkering. That's why I really suggest, if like you have somewhat of a technical mind, but like not too much, the CR10S is perfect, because it's still a kit, but it's not complete like bare components. You just put two halves together, and there's a big enough community out there. There's like 3 Facebook groups with over 30,000 people in there that you can spitball back and forth, like what's going on, show pictures, and they're there to help you. And it's a great print to start from, like printer to start from. That's why I started with this, and now I'm going to get another printer, which is going to be the Ender 3, because it's a cheaper one. But now that I know those ins and outs, I feel confident starting with bare components and building my own printer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exciting times, exciting times. Well, I hope, just to kind of wrap up this here episode, man, as we're reaching the hour and 15 mark, I hope that you guys are seeing the gist of how these episodes are going to go. And as we're talking about the kind of pitfalls and also tips and tricks that we've been able to discover. And Pat, we're happily going to be sharing it on this episode each week and trying to pass on those tools for you. So if you have been thinking or want to get into the world of 3D printing, hopefully we can help each other make things happen. Or at the same time, if you don't want to go through all the hassle, or and would like to be able to have us help you, hopefully we can help be a vehicle for you to make your dreams come to the table. So that is the word. I mean, this is the episode 1, Tabletop Alchemy, Warp Charge Gaming. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, we keep taking fun seriously, and now we're turning plastic into gold.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, doing a little bit of that, and we're going to be back each Thursday as well to talk about tabletop wargaming. We hope to see you soon. Do we got anything else to say there, James?
I don't think so.
I think we're good for now, yeah?
Yeah.
I guess we should say thanks to Gordito for jumping in. It was good to see Chicken Bone as always.
Oh, Form 2 is an SLA printer.
Dude.
And yeah, I definitely want that. That's just that's just a very, very expensive printer. And you need ventilation because you're talking about resin fumes and lasers.
Oh man, getting that those ones a little shouting out. Oh, James, what's up? Nice to have you. Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in and watching. It was cool to it was a nice healthy Monday night episode here with the participation. Had Trevor tune in. That was cool. Lots of the familiar faces. Glad you guys want to still talk about 3D printing. We're tired of taking up all that time on the Thursday night show. We're gonna let the hobby take it back a little bit. Yeah, peace everybody. We'll catch you here later this week. Take fun seriously. Out.